Historically, Broadcom, ticker AVGO, has always been a stock you can rely on. Every time the stock has suffered a decline, it comes roaring back up to eventually break all-time highs every single time. But with all the recent turmoil in the markets due to Trump's policies and earnings due to be announced after the market closed on 5th of June, is this time different? Add to the fact that AVGO is already a massive tech company valued at around $1.1 trillion, supplying the world with their market-leading semiconductor and infrastructure software products. So really, how much more room is there for growth? If you look purely at the numbers, you'll see that for the past 7 years, the company's revenue has still been growing year on year with a massive 44% increase in their last financial year. Also, for the most part, they're a highly profitable business. But we all know that good fundamentals doesn't always mean a good stock, especially if you buy at the wrong time with too much risk. I'm not going to do a deep dive into what AVGO does, but instead, I'm going to zone in on the company's technicals. This will show us the recent behavior of buyers and sellers and what kind of resistance the stock is facing before earnings. So let's jump straight into AVGO's chart. So right out the gate, we see that since the stock suffered a 45% decline from its $251.88 all-time highs back in December, AVGO has made an impressive comeback and is now uptrending with all its major moving averages sloping up and price approaching its all-time highs once again. These are all good signs. In fact, this stock, along with some other big tech players such as Nvidia and Microsoft, they've been largely responsible for propping up the entire stock market, and they're showing good relative strength. However, I would still be cautious because even though the stock has broken above much of its previous resistance levels, it hasn't really built a long enough base, and it still has one major area to contend with, and that's of course its all-time highs, which I've marked out with a green line. It's also made a big run recently, railing around 70% from its lows back in early April. So you have to wonder, how many more buyers are really left for this stock? It's already a huge company with a massive float size of 4.6 billion shares, so it's going to need some serious buying power to keep the price going. Add to the fact that both times the stock made a big gap up in the past year, it sold off after. This would really concern me if the stock makes a big gap up again, and if I were currently holding a position, I'd be looking to sell into the strength of this gap up, and I'd imagine many other investors would be too. There's still a few days left until earnings on 5th of June, so anything can happen before then. But I think the best case scenario for this stock would be to continue going sideways, then on earnings day, make a small gap up just below all-time highs and break out above it, or gap up just a little bit above all-time highs. What's important is that price must hold above all-time highs at the end of the day. If it sells off and closes below it, then I can see it continue going lower, and then it will have to fight through resistance once again. If price makes a big run up leading into earnings, then it has a higher chance of gapping down on earnings day, which isn't ideal, but it'll provide a dip buying opportunity for those who missed the stock earlier on. Of course, if the earnings are terrible and causes the price to break below some major support levels, then it's a riskier buy since it'll have to contend with even more overhead resistance. And this is why I would never buy a stock just before earnings, because the worst can happen, even to stocks that appear to be healthy. In any case, I believe the days of accelerated growth are over for AVGO, and if big percentage gains are what you're after, then there are probably faster moving stocks to buy. So that's my stock analysis for Broadcom, AVGO. Remember, their earnings are going to be announced after the market closes on Thursday, 5th of June, so mark that down in your calendar. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts behind the stock and how you plan on trading it. And if you found this video helpful, just hit the thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more swing trading tips, just subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.